Hi, I am Bhavik Thakkar. Welcome to Btitude. If you're more comfortable with Hindi language, please hit the I button and it will take you to the Hindi version of the exact same video. But if you are comfortable with English, let's carry on. In this particular video, we are going to discuss and learn about a very important topic in time and work. The questions where individuals are working. You might have heard of the specific questions, right? Where you are told that A, B and C can complete a piece of work in X, Y and Z days respectively. And then the story starts. There could be n different stories available and we are supposed to solve those questions, right? So individuals are working with different capacities, right? So now in this video, what we are going to do is we are going to cover all those basic questions, various varieties of basic questions, and the best part is the methodology that we are going to apply. The methodology that Btitude applies is always going to be the shortest, as you know, right? So the shortcuts is the main thing, and another beautiful thing is the variety of questions that we are going to cover in this particular video, right? So that, you know, in real exam, you don't find any surprises. All the questions should have been covered in beforehand, right? Look, basically this particular topic is to be covered in 5 different videos. I would say at least in 5 different videos just on individuals. But in this particular topic, it's all those kind of miscellaneous questions. Then I'll make another videos for those kind of typical kind of questions where I would say A and B are working on alternate days. We would do it in a separate video, or where wages are involved, right? So that means as per the work, they are also getting paid. I'll make a separate video for that as well. Or maybe the questions where after some days A is joining, before some days C left, right? All those questions will be covered in a separate video as well. So we are going to make some separate videos, at least 5 of them. But in this particular video, we will just cover all those basic varieties with the best shortcut possible. So let's get started. Alright then, let us first understand what is the method that we are going to use to solve the questions where individuals are working. Look, when the individuals are working, or actually as such in time and work topic itself, it's very important to visualize the things, right? What I do mean by visualization is that whenever the details of the questions are given, as soon as you read it, the picture should come in front of your eyes. How exactly are the things done? Right? If the picture is clear, it's pretty easy to solve the questions. Let me make my point clear with a very basic example. The example goes something like this. If we are given that A can do some work, say for example 20 pages, he can type 20 pages, okay? Say for example work is typing a page. So if A can type 20 pages in one day, B can type 30 pages in one day, how many pages can A and B type together? Now you will say, sir, this is pretty easy question. The answer has to be 20 plus 30, 50. Agreed, right? So what do I mean is, with work, it's very easy to visualize because we can simply add them. So if A can type 20 pages, B can type 30 pages together, they can type 50 pages. But if the question goes something like this, because that is how the questions are going to be in the real exam. Like A can do a certain work in 20 days, while B can do the same work in 30 days. Now, in how many days can A and B together do the same work? Are you getting it? Now here, of course, it's not that easy to calculate because we cannot visualize it that easily. We cannot simply add them, can we? Because if you understand, A alone can do it in 20 days. So if you add them, it would take 50 days. Is it possible A alone can take 20 days when B is helping him, they are doing the work together? Obviously, it's going to be lesser than those 20 days. Fair enough? Now the question is how to calculate. As I told you, it's very important to visualize the thing, and how we can visualize the work? By work, not by time, right? So we have to convert these data in the form of work somehow. And for that, there are basically 2 methods. and both the methods are equally important to be understood. So we will understand both the methods. The first method is the fraction method, where we actually assume total work as 1, because by fraction total is obviously 1. So we will say if total work is 1, alright. Now we always understand or think about the work, because that is how it is easier to visualize. So tell me one thing, how much work does A day per day? He is doing one work in 20 days. So he is doing 1 by 20 work per day. Fair enough, easy enough to understand. Alright, what about B? He is doing one work in 30 days. So that means he is doing 1 by 30 work per day. Pretty easy to understand. And now as we know, we can easily add the work, right? So we can say when A and B together are working, how much work they are doing together? 1 by 20 plus 1 by 30, which will be 50 by 600, which will be 5 by 60, 1 by 12. So you can say this addition will be 1 by 12 work per day. Hopefully you are good enough with your calculations, right? This is just the basic of fraction, right? So of course, if you are learning time and work, you are expected to be knowing the basic topics like fractions and how to calculate fractions. Fair enough? So answer is 1 by 12 work per day. Now you tell me, there is total of 1 work and they are doing 1 by 12. That means 12th part of total work in 1 day. How many days are they going to take? Obviously 1 divided by 1 by 12. That is 12 days. So your answer will be 12 days. Now this is one method. Of course, most of the people argue that this is the lengthier method, and I agree in most of the cases, but sometimes even this method could be easier than the other method, where we actually use assumption. It is nothing but our replica method, right? In case you have watched our videos on ratio, percentage, it's the same method that we use that. The same method we can use here. What we can do, we can take total work, we can assume total work as an LCM of 20 and 30, right, which is 60. So now let's assume if total work is 60, it could be say 60, making 60 chairs, right? Now A is taking 20 days to make 60 chairs. That means he is making 3 chairs per day, right? 3 work per day. Now if B is taking 30 days to make those 60 chairs, that means B is making 2 chairs per day, right? And together they are making 5 chairs per day, 5 work per day. Fine. Total work is 60. They are doing 5 per day. How many days they are going to take? Obviously 60 divided by 5, 12, right? So as compared to the previous method, where you have to calculate with the fractions, you feel this method has an edge, which is true in most of the cases, but then it depends upon the format of the question. So you must be able to understand this particular question in both the ways, right? It is very important, because who knows, sometimes the other method can also be a shortcut, and that is what we are going to see. All right. So hopefully both the methods are clear, and only this is the basic funda which we are going to use in all the 5 videos, and all the topics are going to be solved with this method only, right? And you will be I would say amazed to see how easily we are going to solve the questions, right? Yes, of course. Excuse me, we are going to use a bit of logic, right? So apart from this method, we have got our own logic, right? That is what Btitude is all about. Visualize the things, you will be able to understand the logic, and then that is what is the lateral thinking. If you have developed it, if you always try to be innovative, you will be able to solve the questions in seconds, right? Let's have a look. There we go. You know what is our drill. Always you have to pause the video, think on your own first, try to do it, and hopefully you will come up with the answer, and then check it out how I solved the question. Alright, then may I remove this first Hindi version? Alright, let's understand. The question goes something like this. To do a certain work alone, A takes 64 hours while B takes 75 hours. Alright, A worked on it for 16 hours and B worked on it for 25 hours. The remaining work is completed by C in 20 hours. Then how long would C take to finish the whole work alone. Alright, the question is clear enough. Now, you tell me which method we are going to use. Either it's going to be the fraction method or assumption method. Now, if you are going to use assumption method, then you will have to make the LCM of 64 and 75, which is going to be huge, right? So that would simply kill our time. That's the thing. But if you understand the beauty of Btitude logical method, then you will directly understand that if A worked out in for 16 hours, he takes 64 hours, that means A would have completed 1/4 of the work, 16 by 64. So fraction method is sufficient here, right? And it is going to be a better shortcut here. Then B worked for 25 hours. Now he can do the work in 75 hours. So obviously he completed 1/3 of the work. All right, right? Fair enough. So if you understand, the total work done is 7 by 12, right? So remaining work, when I am saying the remaining work, it is 5 by 12. So for 5 by 12, C is taking 20 hours. Now you can directly understand what does 5 by 12 means. Total work is 12. For the 5 work, he is taking 20 hours. So 5 into 4, he is taking into 4. So if he has to work alone to finish the whole work, 12 into 4, 48 hours will be taken. Simple enough, right? Now just try this by taking LCM and using the assumption method. It will simply kill your time. And that is what you have to understand. Getting this? So try to understand this particular question has to be dealt in the fraction method, because it's very easy to find out the fraction. 16 by 64, 1/4, 25 by 75, 1/3, isn't it? So sometimes it's easier. You have to check the given numbers, which calculation is easier. Fair enough? We can understand this, right? So for 5 by 12, 20, you can also do like this. Like 5 by 12 work, C is taking 20 hours. So for the full one work, how much time will it take? And then cross multiply. I did the same. I just used my logic to understand the fraction, that 5 by 12 means 5 out of 12. If for 5 work he is taking 20 hours, for 12 is the full work. So 12 into 4, 48. It's the same thing, right? It's just that if you have reached, if you can understand the fractions, you will be able to save your time, right? Rather than just doing it in the typical manner. Fair enough? Alright, let's move forward with the second question. I think should be easy again, right? I'll simply remove this in the version. You must be able to do it. Now let's have a look at how this can be done. A alone can take 24 hours, B alone can take 36 hours, A worked for 7 hours, B worked for 2. So look, the format of the question is pretty similar, isn't it? But here, taking LCM of 24 and 36 is easy. So which method we are going to use? The assumption method, the replica method, where we would take some work as the total work as an LCM of 24 and 36. So if 72 is the total work, A is actually doing 24, that means 24, 3s are 72, 3 work per hour, and B is actually doing 36 into 2, so 2 work per hour. This is total work. Look, if you want to visualize it properly, and if you think like just by saying work you are not able to visualize, then you can take anything like maybe making chair, typing pages, something like this. You can think like typing 72 pages is the total work. A is able to do 3 pages, like you will say 72 pages, 3 pages, 2 pages, maybe if it is easier for you that way. Alright, okay. Now A worked out in for 7 hours, so 3 into 7, 21, done. B for 11 hours, 2 into 11, 22 pages, done. So that means 43 pages are done. How much is remaining? You can say 29 pages is remaining, and these 29 pages remaining work is completed by C in 58 hours. So for this 29, C is taking 58 hours, so into 2, right? Now what is the question? How long would C take to finish the whole work? Whole work is actually 72 page. So if 29 takes him 58, double 72 will take 144 hours. Pretty easy, simple enough. isn't it? So first two questions are pretty simple. It's just that I wanted to convey the message that sometimes, as in the first question, the fraction method was the shortcut, and sometimes, as in the second question, assumption method, right, assuming the total work method, replica method is easier, right? But you need to be able to understand both of them. Fair enough. Let's move forward to the third question. Hopefully you find it easy. Just pause the video, try to do it on your own first. Alright then, may I remove this? Fine. Let's have a look. X and Y together can take 54 days to do a work. Alright. So whenever the work is given as they are together taking. Okay. Now here it says X worked on it for 30 days and Y for 66 days and work is finished. Right? Now, this is the key. The key is to visualize what is happening in the form in which it is given. So it is actually given they are working together. If they work together, then they can do it in 54 days. Here they are not doing it together. But if you understand, you can actually understand, can't I take it something like this, that X and Y worked together for 30 days and then Y alone worked for 36 days. Isn't it the same? Because in this manner also, X worked for 30 days, Y worked for 30 plus 36, 66 days. It's the same thing. So why don't I make, when X is working, the lesser number of days is X. So I'll say Y was also working that for 30 days. So that means X and Y were working for 30 days and then Y alone worked for 36 days. The data is same, isn't it? I just moved. Does it matter whether I am working today or tomorrow? I'll do the same work. So even if Y is working earlier with X for 30 days, doesn't make any difference, and remaining 36 days alone. Are you getting it? That way it's very important, and here we will simply use the fraction method. Like, okay, when they work together, the work was of 54 days, out of which 30 days work is complete, right? That means X and Y's remaining work is 24 days work, right? 24 days work, but that particular work Y completed in 36 days. Are you getting it? The problem is it's very difficult to assume or understand or visualize from days. So what we do? We actually assume the total work, right? So let's assume then. Are you getting it? This is X and Y together could have done it in 24 days remaining work. Are you getting it? 54, they worked for 30 days. So 54 minus 30, 24. And that particular work Y actually did in 36 days. So now if you can visualize, because we can only visualize from work. So 24, 36. So work can be taken as 72, 24 into 372, 36 into 2. So that means X and Y do 3 work. Y alone does 2 work. So that means X is doing 1 work, right? So that means X is doing 1 work, Y is doing 2 work. Are you getting this? And X and Y together are doing 3 works. Pretty easy. Now, let's try to understand what is the question. How many days will Y take to do it alone? Do the whole work alone, right? Yes. Y to do the whole work alone. So whole work now becomes 54 days work of X and Y. That is 54 into 3. If Y is alone doing it, then divide it by 2. So 2, 27, 3s are 81, right? So there you go. And look, right now I am explaining you each and everything, like writing this. In real exam, you should be able to do it something like this, like, okay, 54 days, 30, so I would say, okay, 30, and I would just remove 30 from here and I would put 36. Then I would say, okay, 54 minus 30 is 24. So 24 days work is taking 36. So that means 3 and 2, alright, so 3 into 54 divided by 2. So that means 27 multiplied by 3, 81. So you're not supposed to write each and everything, because right now I am explaining you each and everything. In exam, most of the things will be in your mind. Just for some numbers, you will calculate something like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 numbers. That's about it, right? Alright then, let's move to the next question. Very interesting question. Again, pause the video, think about it on your own first. And these are kind of the questions that are actually asked. So be careful, you must be able to answer them. Think about them. Alright. So these are not the questions that I have made. Even this is a very typical question. That's what I said. This is the first video on individual work. So I have taken some very basic kind of questions. Just the thing is that I have covered most of the variety. Alright. So hopefully it was easy, right? Let me remove that Hindi version. Try to understand. X and Y together can take 42 days and Y and Z together take 51 days. Now, so the data is given in combination, but when they are working, X won on it for 7 days, Y for 24, Z for 74, and the work is finished. So what I'll do? I'll convert this data, the way they are working, in the form in which the information is given. That means, can't I say X work on it? So what is the minimum? 7 days. So I would say X and Y worked for 7 days. So X 7 days, Y 7 days. X 7 days is gone, Y 7 days is gone, but Y is actually working for 24 days. That means another 17 days are remaining. Then I will say, okay, Y and Z worked for 17 days. So that means Y7 plus Y17, Y's 24 days are gone, right? Z only 17 days are gone, but Z actually took 74 days. So 74 minus 17, that means 57, right? 57 days. Are you getting it? So I just made it something like this. It's the same thing, doesn't it? Overall, look, X only works here for 7 days. So that's what it says. X worked in for 7 days. Y for 24. Y here and here. 7 plus 17, 24, right? Z 74, Z 17 plus 57, 74. So it's the same data, right? But when I converted it into the form in which information is given, it becomes very easy. Now I can understand X and Y together can do 42 days. In 7 days, they would do the work 1 by 6. Yes, right? So fraction method is easy. Next, Y and Z together. So I am not going to take LCM of these and this, right? Fraction method is much easier. Now Y and Z did work for 17 days and they can complete the work in 51 days. So 17 by 51, 1/3 work they did, right? So how much work is remaining? Take the LCM as 6, right? So that means 3 by 6, right? The addition will be 1 by 6 plus 2 by 6, 3 by 6. Half the work is done and the remaining half work is done by Z in 57 days, right? This plus this, as we saw, it is this 1 by 6 plus 1 by 3. Half the work is done. Remaining half work is done by Z in 57 days. So the question is, how many days will Z take to do it alone? For half work 57 days, for full work 114 days, right? So how easy could it be? Are you able to see that, right? Pretty easy, pretty amazing, isn't it? Alright, then let's move to the next question. So that's what we are doing. I'm taking various varieties of questions and the methods are similar, but the application is amazing, right? Alright then, try to do this on your own first. I'll simply remove this. Hopefully you got the answer. The question is, A takes 4 hours, B 5, C 6. Well, so here LCM is easy. I'll say 4, 5, 6. 4 into 5 into 3. 4, 5, 20, 60. So I'll say, okay, 60 page typing, 60 pages is the total work. That means A, B and C are typing. Try to understand. 4 hours. So I would say 4 into 15 page, 5 into 12 page and C 6 into 10 page, right? Now the question is, how long will A and B together take to do the work, which C can do it 4.5 hours. So C is doing 10 pages per hour into 4.5 will make it 45 pages. If these two are taking it together, right, they would be able to do 27 page per hour. So 45 is the target work. Divided by 27. 9 5s are, 9 3s are, 5 by 3 hour. 5 by 3 hour, that means nothing but 1 hour and 40 minutes, right? Just multiply it with 60. In case the question is in minutes, 60. So you can say 60 into 5, 300 by 3, 100 minutes, right? 100 minutes is 1 hour and 40 minutes. In case the answer, the option is in these many hours and these many minutes, then fair enough, simple enough, right? I don't think there is anything confusing here. Pretty simple, straightforward question. Alright then, what about this one? Again, think about this on your own first, should be pretty easy. I'll simply remove this Hindi version. Alright, it takes 8 days working 4 hours a day. That means 32 hours, right? A is taking 32 hours. B takes 16 days working 2.5 hours a day. That means 16 into 2.5, right? 40 hours. So basically 32 and 40 are easy, right? The LCM should be what? 16 into 10, 160. Let's say 160 is the LCM. 160 pages to be typed. A does it in 32 hours, so 32 into 5 is 160. B does it in 40 hours, 40 into 4. 5 pages and 4 pages per hour they are able to do. How long would it take for A and B together to complete the work, working 3 hours 20 minutes a day? Now try to understand this. Alright, when they work together, they are doing 9 pages per hour. So 9 pages per hour into number of hours is 3 hours 20 minutes is nothing but 3 1 by 5, isn't it? 3 1 by 3, isn't it? Right? 3 hours 20 minutes is 20 by 60, 1 by 3. Look, these basic things you should be very clear of. So there is nothing but 10 by 3 hours. This can be taken as 10 by 3 hours. So 9 pages per hour into 10 by 3. So this is the work per day, right? Work per day, and they are supposed to do 160 pages. So 160 is total work divided by work per day. It will give you the number of days. So this should be easy. 0 0 cancel, 3 goes here. 16 by 3, that is 5 1 by 3 days, right? So you can say 5 days and 8 hours maybe, because 1/3 of a day. Usually it would be something like this, right? You don't actually convert days into hours. Alright then, so or maybe 16 by 3 days or maybe 5 1 by 3 days. Pretty easy, simple enough. There is nothing extraordinary that I did here, just normal. Go with the flow of the question. The question says 8 days, 4 hours, so 32 hours, 40 hours, 32 and 40 LCM, individual work we found it. 9 pages per hour they are doing when they work together, and then they are saying when they work together for these many hours a day. So per day work would be this into number of hours, right? And total work is there. There you go, right? Simple enough. Alright then, what about the next question? Again, please pause the video and do it on your own first. I'll simply remove this. Let's have an idea how can we solve this. Okay. Okay, so if you understand here, A takes 40 days and he worked on it for 5 days. That means how much work was remaining? Are you getting it? A's 35 days work was remaining. For the remaining work, A would have taken 35 days, and for that work, because out of 40 he already worked for 5 days. So the work can be taken as 35 days work of A, for which B took 20 days, 21 days, right? What is easy? Easy is to find out the LCM, because 7 5s are 7 3s are. So 105, right? So if the total work is 105, total remaining work, try to understand that, because this is the time they are taking to do remaining work. So in 35 days, that means 3 per day, 3 pages per day, 21. So 5 pages per day, total is 105 pages. Now try to understand what is the question. How long would A and B together take to do the work? So don't take total work as 105. That's the main thing, because this work is A's 35 day remaining work, right? So A works 3 pages per day. A takes 40 days. So that means total work is 40 into 3, right? 120. And now both of them are working together. That means 8 pages they are doing. 120 by 8. 15 days they will take together. Are you having a look? All the questions are different. Slowly but surely I am trying to cover all the different varieties, and all the questions are basic. We are not going beyond the level. that we will do later, right, in some other videos. But first we are going to cover all those type of basic questions, and we are trying to, I would say, grasp the concept and the methodology in the real sense, so that we can apply it in this kind of the questions. Fair enough, simple enough. So here you have to understand that total work is not this 105, right, because this is the LCM of these two, remaining work, and this is remaining work. That's the very important task. Otherwise you would have answered 105 divided by 8, that would be in one of the option also, right. So beware of these general pitfalls. Alright then, what about this one, 8th question? Again, please think on your own first. Should be easy, right? I'll simply remove this Hindi version while I'll be solving it. You think it should be easy for you to solve. If you understand, they started the work at 6 am. Even though B left, who was always there? A. He was always there from 6 am to 6 pm. Yes or no? Right? I'll remove this so that I get some space. So A was there for 12 hours. In 12 hours, how much work he would have done? 12 by 15. So fraction method is easier here, right? You can use the other LCM method as well, assumption method, replica method. But for me, I can directly understand A was always there. That means A did 12 hours, 12 by 15. Or you can say 12 by 15 is what? 4 by 5, right? 4/5 work is done by A. That means only 1/5 work is to be done by B, and B takes 18 hours. So B would have taken 3.6 hours, right? That means B had to stay for 3.6 hours, or you can say 3 hours and 36 minutes. 3.6 hours, 3 hours, and 0.6 hours means 60 into 0.6, 36 minutes. So what is the question? B left, right? At what time did B leave? B left after 3 hours 36 minutes. They started at 6. So 9:36 am, right? Pretty easy to understand. So that's the Btitude for you. If you think logically, it's pretty easy. Otherwise you will have to take 15 and 18's LCM and blah blah blah. I don't know, right? Of course I know if I do it, but there is no point of using that method. The very easy method was A was always there. So try to find out A's work. 12 hours, 12 by 15. 4/5 of the work is done by A. That means remaining 1/5 work had to be done by B. So B had to stay for such a time till in which he can actually complete 1/5 of a work. And total times he takes is 18. So 3.6 hours he should have been there. Pretty easy, interesting question, right? Alright, what about this one? Again, please pause the video. I'll simply remove this Hindi version. Let's try to understand. 20 days and 15, considering that it should be easy to find the LCM, right? Okay, so 20 and 15, I would say 60 pages is the total work. A and B do the work like 3 page and 4 page. And then they are saying they work together for 6 days. So together that means 7 into 6, 42 is done, right? Out of 60, 42 is done. So remaining work is now 18 pages, and now what is happening is B is replaced by C. So these 18 pages are done by A and C because B is no longer there, and the work is finished is next 4 days. So out of these 18 pages, A is doing 3. So when 4 days, 3 into 4, 12 is done by A. That means remaining 6 is done by C, right? So how much work does C do? 4 days, 6 pages. So per day, 1.5 pages. So C does 1.5 pages per day. And the question is, how many number of days C would take to do the whole work? The whole work is 60 pages. 60 divided by 1.5, or you can say 600 divided by 15 is nothing but 40. So C would take 40 days to finish the work, right? Look, I am doing each and every work on paper so that you understand this is how you should think, but this is not what you should write in the exam. In exam, you would simply try to understand, okay, 20, 50, you will say 60, and you say, okay, 3 and 4, and you say 7 into 6 is 42, so 42, so 18 is remaining, and then 4 days, so minus 12, 6 by C in 4 days, so 1.5, 60 divided by 1.5, 600 by 15, 40. This is all that you would write. You are not going to write all this, because right now my job is to explain you, right? So I am writing each and everything, but you would have to write simply this much in your real exam once you are comfortable with the method. Fine, fair enough. Alright then, let's move to the next question. Again, you can pause the video and try to do it on your own first. Let us have an idea. A and B these days, B and C these days, C and A these days. How many days will, oh, this is a very traditional question, right? A and B, B and C, A and C, all those possible combinations are given. It's pretty easy. All you have to do usually is to find out 10, 15, 12. What will be the LCM? 60, right? So let's assume 60 pages typing is the normal work. A and B, 6 pages, B and C, 15 forza, so 4 pages, A and C, 12 days, 12 5s, 5 pages. Now, always the easiest method is to add them all. So that will give you an idea. 6 plus 4, 10 plus 5, 15 pages is done by 2A plus 2B plus 2C, yes or no? Because when you are adding them, all A, B and C will be counted twice. So that means A plus B plus C 2 times is 15 page. So single times it is 7 and 7.5 page per day, right? A, B and C can do 7.5 page per day. Now the question is, in how many days they will take to do it collectively together? 60 divided by 7.5 should be 8, right? So the answer is 8 days. 60 is the total work and they are doing 7.5 page per day. 7.5 2s are 15 and 15 4s are. So into 2 into 4, so into 8. 8 days in total they will take. Fine. So in this kind of the question, it is always sum of this divided by 2, because here it is 2A plus 2B plus 2C. Simple enough, fair enough, nothing extraordinary, right? Let's move to the next question. There you go. May you remove this? Fine. Hopefully you could do it easily. A does 2/5 of the work in 9 days. He then calls in B together. Okay, then together. So what we'll do, let's assume, because that would be easy, 9 and 6 LCM will be what, 18, but the work has to be divisible by 5 also, right? Because total works 2/5, that means has to be divisible by 5. 9 and 6 LCM was what? 18 into 5. Let's assume 90 is the total work so that it's easy. If the total work is say 90 pages, now try to understand. A does 2/5. 2/5 of this will be 36 in 9 days. That means A is doing 4 pages per day. A is doing 4 pages per day. And he actually did for 9 days. That means 36 is already done out of 90 page. 4 into 9, 36 is done. So that means 54 pages remaining, which is done by A and B together in 6 further days. In 6 days, 54 in 6 days. That means A plus B has to be 9. 6 into 9 is 54. A is already 4 pages. That means B has to be 5 pages. Then and then only total will be 9. 9 into 6 will be 54. Pretty easy. So you know, that is the beauty of Btitude. It's not the same type of questions, but the methodology is same. You have to assume somewhere, but we are giving you the thought process by which you will be able to understand when when to use fraction method, when to understand that okay, now it's easier to make, and how to even assume, because here it was 2/5. So you had to understand the total work has to be taken as the multiple of 5, multiple of 9 and 6 as well, right? Alright, then now the question was, how long would B alone take to complete the work? 90 divided by 5, that means 18 days, right? So there you go, easy, straightforward. What about this one? Again, pause the video and try to do it on your own first. May I remove this? 21 days. Look, whenever some work is given like A, B and C, 21 days work, they worked on it for 7 days. That means the remaining work before C leaves was A plus B plus C's 14 days work, because after 21 days, 7 days they already worked. So this was the 14 days work for A plus B plus C, which is now done by only A and B because C is living. The remaining work is finished by A and B in 28 days. So now we can easily understand A plus B. For this work, A plus B took 28 days. LCM is very easy, 28. So if this work is 28, these people are doing 2 work, this is 28, 14 2s are 28, 28 1s are 28. That means total A plus B plus C are doing 2 pages, right? But A and B are doing only 1 page. That means remaining C is only also doing 2 pages. That's how A plus B plus C is 2. Getting this? Now, the question is, how many days would C have to take if he had to finish the whole work alone? So, whole work. Now, try to understand. Whole work is A plus B plus C is 21 days work. So, that means total A plus B plus C is 2. 2 into 21, 42. This 42, when C does alone, he does only 1 page. 42 by 1 is 42 days. Right? Simple enough. Right? So, just try to understand this. Look, again, because I am explaining each and everything, I would simply do it like out of 21, 7 days. So, A plus B plus C, I would say, okay, 14 days work, which A and B took 28. That means double, right? 14, then A and B took double. That means they are doing exactly half. That means another half is done by C. So, C's efficiency is half. So, he will take twice the days, 21 twice, 42 days. I wouldn't write much, just 14, 28, some underlines, understanding, clear, right? So, I don't have to write anything, but in case you are not that fast, right, then at least by writing this much, you can solve it, fine. The same thing, look, it wasn't a different method that I used there, it's the same method, but I don't have to write so much, because if I can put some things in my mind, then I don't have to write, right. So, think without ink. The more you use the ink, the more time you are going to waste, right, and time is the money, especially in the competitive exam, fine. Alright, then what about this one? Again, you can pause the video and try to do it on your own first. I will simply remove that version. X and Y take 5 days, X and Z take 7 days, Y and Z takes 4 days, and who among them takes the least time to do it alone? Very interesting question. Similar question we have already done, right? X, Y, Y, Z, Z, X, and you would say, sir, it's the same thing. Let us do the same thing, but you are not supposed to. Why? You are not supposed to play with any numbers. Why? Simply because if you understand, we are not supposed to find out even the time. We are just supposed to find out who is the fastest. Least time is the fastest. Who is the fastest? Who will be taking the shortest time? Now, as you can see, the shortest time is this 4 days in which Y and Z are working. So, obviously, it has to be one of Y and Z. Now, which is the second shortest time? Second shortest time is 5 days. 7 is the longest, right? 7 is the longest. Or either you can also think like this, the longest time is taken by X and Z. So, who would be the shortest or quickest? The other one, Y. That's about it, right? Just you don't have to do anything. It's as simple as that. Who are taking the longest time? Which combination? X and Z. So, who has to be the fastest? The other one, Y. That's it. Just 5-second question, right? So, don't try to, like, if this kind of the question really comes up in the exam, don't try to use LCM method or assumption method or even fraction method. Just use your logic, alright? Because this is a real exam question. This is asked, and that is why I picked up. In case it is asked, don't waste your time, right? Alright, what about this one? Again, you can pause this video, try to do it on your own first. I'll simply remove this. X can finish the work in 3 days less than that of Y. X worked for 4 days, remaining work was completed by Y, and whole work took 14 days. That means in a way, X worked for 4 days, Y worked for 10 days, then and then only it is 14 days and the work got completed. The problem is we are not given their efficiency in any way. 3 days less. Look, it does not give us any idea. If they say half the time, we can understand, right? 1/3 the time. If they talk in the terms of ratio, we can take a replica, we can take our example. Like if here they would have taken X can do a work in half the time, then we would say that means X is doing double the work. So if Y is doing one work, X is doing two work. We can take the example like that, but right now this means we cannot take any example. That means we don't have our traditional methods to solve. So either you make equation or you go by option, right? Fair enough. Then why not? We will go by option. Just let's understand one thing. Let's understand the days. This is the days they actually worked for. If the days in which they can complete the work can be taken as, for example, X complete the work, say for example, first let us take 9. If he can complete the work in 9 days, he can do the work in 3 days lesser. That means Y is doing 3 days more. So 9 and 12, LCM would be 36. So 9 into 4, 36, 12 into 3. Now just try this. 4 into 4, 16. 3 into 10, 30. 30 plus 16, 46. It is not 36. That means this is not the right option. Because had it been the right option, the work should get completed exactly in the given time. Are you getting it? I am just going by the option. So if I take 9 and 12, if I go by this option 9, then I have to take 12 days for Y because X is taking 3 days lesser. So Y's days will be 3 days more. Then I am saying okay 9, 12, then I am just taking normal 36, 4, 3. So then I am saying okay 4 into 4 because this is how they have actually worked. 4 work for 4 days, 16. 3, 4, 10, 30, 30 plus 16 is 46. It is not total 36, that means this is not the answer. I will say this is not the answer. 14, if I take 14 here, 17 here, that's very odd number, right? 14 and 17 does not make sense to me. Most probably it would not be the answer. We will check it later, but most probably it cannot be 12. So if I take 12 here, 15 here, LCM is easy, 12 and 15 will be 60, 12 into 5, 15 will be 4. Now check, 5 into 4, 20. 4 into 10, 40, 20 plus 40, 60. There you go. That has to be your right answer. So go by the option, and that is what Btitude does. We are not giving you only one method to follow, right? We are trying to make you understand the things, and that is how you can understand or imagine how we can be creative enough. And as you know, our methodology is always been think of the logic first. But if it is not possible, then think of the option or some formula. In case for this, there is no formula. Like we actually don't remember or memorize lots of formula. That is not our methodology, right? So then the next option in most of the times is going by an option unless you make it by equation. Why would you make equation and waste your time? Fair enough, easy. Let's move forward to the next question, the question number 15. Again, you can pause the video and try to do it on your own first. Alright, then I'll remove that one. Let's have an understanding. A worked for 20 days, B does the remaining work in 12 days. This is a very interesting question, a different variety of question if you try to understand. In the first instance, A is working for 20 days and B is working for 12 days and the work gets completed. Then they are saying if A works for 17 days and then if he leaves the work, the remaining work B works for 14 days and then also work is getting completed. So what is the difference between these two instances? In both the cases work is getting completed, right? So here A was working for 20 days, here he is working for 70 days. Doesn't that mean that 3 days work of A, right? 3 days work of A is equal to B was working 12 days here. Now here because A worked 3 days lesser, B had to work 2 days more. Are you getting it? Yes or no, right? So that means 3 days of work of A is equal to 2 days of work of B. That means A and B are working in the ratio of 2 by 3, right? A is doing 2 work, B is doing 3 work. Pretty easy, pretty amazing method. So now it's pretty easy. Now the question is if both work together. Now try to understand the work would be A is doing 2 work. So A worked for 20, 20 into 2, 40 plus B works for 12 days, 12 into 3, 36. So 76 is the total work, right? Look, you can put it anywhere. Either you put this 2 and 3 in the first instance or you can put it in the second instance. Total work will be the same. Look here, 2 into 17, 34, 3 into 14, 42, 34 plus 42, 76. So total work is 76. Now they are doing it together. That means divide by 5. 76 by 5 would be 15 1 by 5, right? So there you go. 15 1 by 5 is your answer. So this is a different variety of question, but the easiest possible method, right? So are you getting it? It's the same method that you have to assume or something like this, like 2 and 3, and then we put that one inside, because when you know the work, then and then only you can visualize. But how to do that differs in each and every question, right? Alright, then let's move to the next question. Now this last couple of questions are also very important, in case you would have seen this kind of the questions where candles are lightened and then they are started melting, right? And then the height, like something question related to their height. This is very important question. Hopefully you figured it out by pausing the video. Let's see how we can solve this question. Alright, now try to understand two candles of the same height are lighted. The first is consumed in 8 hours and second in 6 hours. But because they are saying same height, so let's take as an LCM of 8 and 6, right? So let's say 24 centimeter is their height, right? 8 and 6 is 24. But now try to understand. So this one would be melted because 8 hours, 24. So per hour 3 centimeter would be decreased, right? Then and then only it will be 0 centimeter at the end of the time. So that means minus 3x will be its height. Yes or no? 24 is its original height, but in 8 hours, so that means every hour 3 centimeter will be decreased. So after x hours the height would be this much. That second one in 6 hours, so that means 24 is its height as well, and minus 6, that means 4x. Assuming that each candle burns at the constant rate, in how many time after being lighted, ratio of the length becomes 2:1. That means this divided by this becomes 2:1. I can write that this divided by this, 24 minus 4x becomes 2:1. Forget about this, right? So you know, sometimes you have to make an equation as well. That is what Btitude wants to show, because the equation is so easy, right? Just one variable. If you visualize the thing, you can understand how would I figure it out, like double the height of first one as compared to second. There is no logic. But if you understand the simple equation, very simple equation, right? 24 is the total height, minus 3x, 24 minus 4x, the height has to be 2:1. Just solve it. If you solve this, obviously 1 will go this side, 24 minus 3x will be this into 2, 48 minus 8x, 48 minus 8x. So 24 is equal to 5x. So x is equal to 4.8. X is nothing but minute, right? So 4.8 minutes. After how many time? 4.8 hours, sorry, hours, it is in hours. 4.8 hours, or you can say 4 hours, and 0.8 means 60 into 0.8, 6 8s are 48 minutes. 4 hours and 48 minutes, right? After this much time, the height would be in the ratio of 2:1. So just a simple normal equation, and that's it, right? All you have to write was, okay, 24 minus 3x, 24 minus 4x, and we have to make it 2/1. That's it. Solve this and you get your answer. So sometimes even equation could be a fix, could be the method which could be the shortest one, right? That takes us to the last question of the video, and it is also a very interesting question. I think it is also of the candles. Yes, there you go, right? Of the candles only. Again, you can pause the video and try to do it on your own first. Should be simple enough. May I remove this? All right. Now let's have a look. Oh my God, this is in Hindi. All right. I'll just do it somewhere here. All right, because this is Hindi version, which will be difficult for us to understand. Let's keep it English version here. All right, no worries. Now let's try to figure it out. Two candles have different lengths and different thickness. The longer one would last 22 hours and the shorter one would last 14 hours. Now here we cannot take LCM because they have different height. The length was different. So we don't know. All right. Both candles are lit simultaneously, and after 6 hours, both have the same length. What was the ratio of their original length? Very good question, but if you understand, it is pretty easy. Very straightforward, very easy. Most of you found it difficult to solve this, I know. That is the thing. Your maths, your mathematical aptitude has to be improved, right? That is what I mean to say. Like, you know, even after doing all time and work, if this kind of the question comes in your exam, and then you would say, oh, I cannot answer that, because you didn't understand the things. So don't just go by the questions and methods. Try to really develop your logic. All right. So now let's try to figure it out. What does this actually means? 22 hours. So if you understand, their heights are different, right? So for example, the first one length is say L1, the second one's length is say L2. Okay. Now first one would last 22 hours. So after 6 hours, it would last for 22 hours. So after 6 hours, its length would become 22 minus 6, 16 by 22. Yes or no? So 16 by 22 of L1, and this height is equal to, second one lasts for 14 hours. So in 6 hours, 6 by 14 would be melted. It would have gone. 6 by 14 would have gone. So 8 by 14 would be the remaining height. So 8 by 14 of L2. That's about it. And we were supposed to find out the ratio anyway, L1 by L2. L1 by L2 will become 8 by 14 multiplied by 622 by 16. So 8 2s are 2, 11. The answer is 11 is to 14. Very easy, isn't it? Right? So this is just a question of ratio, nothing else. Normal ratio you had to understand. Yes, just the thing is that you have to understand that in 6 hours, 6 by 22 work will be done. So remaining work, excuse me, that is what the remaining height, right? So total work is 22 hours work. 6 hours is done. So 6 by 22 is done. So 16 by 22 is remaining, and that is what means the remaining length. 16 by 22 and 8 by 14, and they are same, right? Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So we covered kind of various varieties of question, and I hope you enjoyed it, right? And of course, if you are watching to this level, to this point, of course you enjoyed it, right? So yes, if you liked it, please like the video, put the comments, that's the most important part, and put your doubts as well. Fine. So right now we are encouraging our students to put doubts. What we will do is, if your doubts are really unique, it's a really good question that we are going to cover it in the next video. So put your doubts, and even if it is simple enough, not very simple doubts, obviously we wouldn't have time to solve it. You should actually watch the video properly, right? But in case, you know, you have got doubts which is unique, we would cover it in the later videos. In a way, your doubts will be covered with the Btitude technique as well. You get a chance. So put comment, that is very important. Subscribe to our channel in case you haven't, right? And the most important part is to hit the bell icon, right? Because that will give you the notifications as soon as we upload the videos from our side, and you can learn very easily, and all those shortcut methods can be learned with ease. All right then, keep watching, keep learning, and keep enjoying.